France is a wonderful country. It's a country which is very diverse. It's very central in Europe. It's one of the main European economies. And this is also the home of gastronomy.
You can find big groups, you can find startups, young startups, you can find international organizations, multicultural groups and communities, so you can share your own culture, your own skills, and I'm sure it will be a great journey. Teaching in business schools is extremely interesting because we get to look at real-life examples of companies for management and marketing, and I prioritize student involvement, both in the participation in class and also in bringing topics that they're curious about. So I try to create a really interactive environment where everybody learns from each other. I learn from my students, and I hope that they learn from me too.
Hi, good afternoon and welcome. My name is Darren Hunt. I'm the president of our International School of Management. I'm not alone today to talk to you about why you should consider studying in France and why you should consider studying with our International School of Management. First of all, I'm going to bring to the screen with me Maha. Hi Maha, how are you?
Hi sir, hi, I'm good. Good afternoon everyone from India.
Thank you. We also have another team member from OR International, Lakshmi. Hi, Lakshmi.
Hello, hi everyone. Myself Lakshmi. I'm the Kerala Admissions Manager for our International School of Management.
Thank you. And last but definitely not least is our valued partner, and we have Sri Lakshmi with us.
Hi all, I'm Sri Lakshmi and I'm the Senior Admission Executive of Campus World.
There you go. So that's the team we have for you today. We're here to answer any questions that you may have. Obviously, this is on YouTube. You can just type in your question, and towards the end of the presentation, we will try to answer all of your questions. You will have our details too and of our valued partner, so you can, of course, get in touch with us if there's something that you've not had the answer to your question today. Because it's on YouTube, you can go back to some of the screens that maybe I've gone a little bit quick over. So I'm going to try and keep this down to a short amount of time. Otherwise, I do talk a lot and it could go on for hours. So without further ado, if I just put my partners away for the moment and my colleagues. Okay, what I'm going to do now is actually bring onto the screen the presentation. Here we go, and let's just dive into it. So first of all, you can see our International School of Management in France, of course. We offer BBA, MBA and EMBA courses, and all of those courses are offered in two subjects. The first one is International Business Management. The second one is International Hospitality Management. Very important words, just titles maybe you're thinking. No, international, because a degree from ourselves, a recognized degree, will be useful for you almost anywhere in the world. France is known as being a country which has a very high level of education. So a degree from a school, a college, a university in France is recognized almost everywhere. So that's for the international part. Business or hospitality. Obviously, in business, we're offering courses that will cover all kinds of businesses. And of course, in hospitality, it's restaurants, hotels, very high end. Management is the very important word in both of those titles. We are creating managers of tomorrow. You will be not specialized in one particular subject, but a manager that knows how to manage a team within a business, or a team within hospitality, within restaurants, within hotels, or many other kinds of hospitality businesses that exist. So we're training you, and you will be trained to be a manager of a small team tomorrow or a larger team, depending whether it's a BBA or an MBA. First of all, our school was actually created in 2021. It says by Darren Hunt. It wasn't just myself. There were many of us. We created the school together in 2021. It's a fairly recent school, of course, just almost 5 years of existence very soon. So we have two campuses. The first one is in Lyon, which is the one to the south part of the screen. And then you have Paris, which is right in the top there. We actually started with our first campus in Lyon, and then we went into Paris secondly. So if I just go on to talking about those, the Paris campus is actually based in a part of Paris that's called La Défense. Now, La Défense, you may not have heard of, but it's actually the biggest business hub in Europe. That's the biggest business hub in Europe. So it's really the place to be. But irrelevant whether you're doing business or hospitality as a program, it is the place to be, because obviously Paris is very well known for hospitality with all the luxury hotels and the restaurants that we have. But then business, as I say, the business hub is really there. Just a few pictures we have here of the campus where you can see the cafeteria, just one of the classrooms, one of the many classrooms we have, the entrance, and then you have a reading area. We also have games rooms and many other places where people can chill out. We have a computer room where it has lots of computers available for people. So that's the campus in Paris. Now, moving on to Lyon. Lyon in France is actually known as being the capital of gastronomy. So it made sense for us to have our campus. It was our first campus actually in the heart of Lyon. So Lyon is the capital of gastronomy, but it's also the second largest economic city in France. So again, we're in the two biggest cities in France. And it made sense for us to be there. The job market there is absolutely wonderful for those that are looking for a part-time job while studying, or even for staying over in France and working in France after you finished your studies. Just some of the photos again with some of the students in the different areas of the campus. You can see the baby table football that we have. We also have a PS5 there, and we have to kick the students out at the end of the day because they enjoyed so much. And again, the cafeteria. So when you are studying abroad, one of the first things you think of is, of course, which country do I want to study in and what's the program that I want to follow? But then the second thing will be accommodation, a very big part of your studies, because you'll be here in France for 2 or 3 years. So you need to have accommodation. Now, accommodation in Europe on the whole is much more expensive than many other countries. So basically a few pointers here. The first thing is that you need to take into consideration that the accommodation is going to cost between 400 and 800 euros per month, depending on whether you're on the outskirts of the city or right in the very centre, depending on the size, of course. So I know it's quite a large number, between 400 and 800, but if you say on the whole the average is going to be that. Now, there are some good bits of news here for you. The first one is that Aurélien actually offers accommodation. It's paid, of course, but it works out cheaper for you. So we have our own accommodation that we can offer to you in both campuses. The second biggest point is probably that the government, they so want for international students to come to France that they actually help you by helping to pay your accommodation. So you have a subsidy on your accommodation, which is between 35 and 50% of your monthly rent. So if you're paying, let's say, take a round figure, 600 euros per month, then you could have as much as 300 euros paid back to you each month from the government, which means it would cost you half. Okay, so between 35 and 50% of your accommodation is paid for each month by the government. So you can see they very much want you to come to France. Moving on to another big part of your program, which would be the internship. You will see when I talk about the programs just after this, that each year you will have 6 months of studies, and then you will go straight into 6 months of internship, which is where you will be able to put into practice what you have been taught over the first 6 months. And that's the same for every year. So 6 months studies, 6 months internship. Now, we help you through our partner companies to give you your internship. So you'll have your internship through ourselves, and you are paid a stipend or a small salary during your internship. Now, the minimum legal amount that you can be given each month whilst you are doing your internship in France is 624 euros or thereabouts. Now, depending on whether you're on business, doing a business program, or you're doing a hospitality program, the amount that you would receive each month will vary. And it also varies from company to company. However, the minimum 624, you can sometimes earn as much as double. I've even seen once or twice, 3 times that. Just one point on the hospitality. If you're in hospitality, generally you will have a little less, never less than 624, but it's not as much as sometimes in business. However, in actual fact, it's probably equal or even more, because when you are doing your internship in a hotel, for example, they actually give you accommodation, they feed you, you have your uniform that's cleaned, ironed and pressed for you. So it's pocket money for you. So you can be earning money. So when you are doing your 6 months studies, you can have a part-time job. When you're doing your 6 months internship, you are paid equally. So all good news for you. Some of the partner companies that we work with, some of them are in hospitality, some of them are in business, and many of them are international. But that's just a few of our partners, so you can see the kind of people that we're actually working with, and more importantly, where you would be doing your internships. So the biggest benefits of coming to France, because obviously, let's be totally honest about this. Most people, when they think about studying abroad, they're thinking, let's go to the UK, let's go to Australia, let's go to the United States of America, because they're English-speaking countries. Now, of course, in France, we speak French. However, all of our programs are delivered in English, 100%. And then on top of your program, we will be teaching you French each week. So in fact, each day. So you will be learning French. So once you leave France, if you do, or if you decide to stay over in France after your studies, you would have learned a new language, a new culture. So that's really important. But there are other benefits. The first one is social security, health and insurance cover whilst you're in France. So rest assured, we have an extremely good health cover system in France, although it is expensive. But for you as an international student, it won't cost you anything. Now, you have to join the social security system here in France. Once you arrive here, our team actually looks after that, and we'll put that into place for you, because it's all in French, of course. The second one I've already spoken of, which is internship assistance. So this is your guaranteed paid internship for our students. The third one on the left-hand side, it's a Schengen visa. Now, you will need a Schengen visa to be able to come and study with our international in France. When you have the Schengen visa, technically, you could go and visit any of the 27 countries. However, in all honesty, you'll be working hard. You may have a part-time job. You'll have your internship. You won't have time to go and visit all of the countries. Many of our students during the periods, Christmas periods, the summer periods, where the school will actually be closed, this is where they benefit and take a low-cost flight from the international airport, whether it's in Lyon or in Paris. We have international airports. So you can take a low-cost flight from there as little as 20 or 30 euros, and you could fly to Spain, Italy, anywhere in the Schengen visa region. Okay. Next point is the CAF. I've mentioned this earlier. This is the government that will help pay 35 to 50% of your rent each month. And the last one is a student concessions card. Now, because we are an official school and linked to the government is my boss, if you like, they actually, through ourselves, would allow you to have an official student card. This student card just holds your photograph, the name, what you're studying and which school you are, etc. With this card, more importantly, you can get concessions almost everywhere in France. Transportation is cheaper, up to 70% cheaper, because you're a student. Going to the cinema is cheaper. Anything cultural is cheaper for you. Even McDonald's is cheaper for you. So absolutely everything is cheaper for students in France, not just international students, but all students. But for yourself, with this card, you would get concessions almost everywhere you go. So diving into the actual programs themselves, the first one is the BBA, or otherwise known as the Bachelor in Business Administration. So specialization in two fields here: business and hospitality, international business management and international hospitality management. The course duration is 3 years. So each year you would have 6 months studies, 6 months internship. The eligibility criteria, which you will see, will be the same for both business and hospitalities: the European Baccalaureate, which you wouldn't have, but then the high school diploma, 12th grade or higher secondary school certificate, or any equivalent in any stream. You have the course fees, which are on the screen towards the bottom. For Paris, it's 10,400 euros per annum. There's a 320 euro admin fee. And the intake, this is actually incorrect on the screen. The intake is September. It's actually, to be precise, the 2nd of September is when you would start studying in France. So you'd need to arrive just a couple of weeks before. In the city of Lyon, 8,500 per annum, with a 320 euro admin fee. And again, the intake is September the 2nd. Okay, just one word while I'm talking about the intakes, etc. So the next intake is the 2nd of September, you've understood. The cut-off date for you to be able to come to the school in September is the 15th of June. So it's the middle of June. So there are still places available. There are a few places available. You do need to move quickly if you decide to come to France and to come to ourselves. So you need to have everything put into place by the 15th of June, at least that you've applied to ourselves, because we then have to take you through the visa process and we prepare you for this. We help you go through this process. One other point before I go any further, it's a question we often get, is concerning the visas. How easy or how difficult is it to get a visa? Look, France as a country really wants you to come and study in France, especially for students coming from India. Now, why would I say that? Because depending on which program you're following, you've all heard of, there are different names for it. Let's call it a stay-over visa, which means after your studies, you can stay in the country and look for a job if that's what you wish to do. Many of our students wish to go back to their home country, create a business, take over a family business. But let's just suppose you wanted to stay in France. France as a country, for any international students, give them the right to stay in France if you're studying an MBA, for example, for 1 year after you've completed your studies. That's for all countries except India. India, we have such good political relations between the two countries that you can actually remain in the country for up to 5 years. It won't take you 5 years to find a job, believe me. Young people are finding jobs very, very easy and very, very quickly. But nevertheless, you can see from that France really do want you to come. Is it difficult? It's not difficult to obtain a visa. You have to have just a very serious project. You have to know why you want to go to France, why you would like to go to our particular school. You need to know about the program that you're following, what it's going to bring to you, what you want to do as a project after you've finished your studies, whether that's to go back to your home country, whether it's to go to somewhere else, another country, or to stay in France. These are the 5 major things you need to know. If you can know those, and we will help you to understand and to have, I wouldn't say the right answers, because it's not a questions and answer thing when you go for your visa. It's more just to know about you and who you are. But we will help you go through the process. And on our website, you will find absolutely all the information that you need. So that's for the BBA and a little bit more of information there for you. Moving on to the MBA, or the Masters in Business Administration. This is a 2-year course. Again, International Business Management and International Hospitality Management. It's a different level. Obviously, if you leave from having done your MBA, you'll be looking after a larger team. As I said, the course duration is 2 years. Once again, 6 months studies, 6 months internship. And the eligibility criteria is either to have your bachelor's degree, so your BBA, or to have a European BAC level 3 or 4, or the equivalents. So you have the course fees again on the screen, and the intake, once again, is the 2nd of September this year. Okay. We do have a 3rd course, which is called an Executive MBA, or an Executive Masters in Business Administration. Specializations are identical, international business management and international hospitality management. The course duration for this course is just 12 months, 1 year. Now, who can do this? Why is it an executive master's degree? Basically, it's for anybody that has already obtained their BBA and then they went straight into work, decided, I want to go out there, I want to get some experience under my belt, and I'd like to go to work. So they had the BBA, they went to work, and they've worked for a minimum of 3 years. If you have your BBA, you've worked for more than 3 years in your country or elsewhere, in fact, then you can apply for an EMBA, which you can do in 1 year. This course is only available in the city of Lyon, and the course fee is €11,200 per annum with a $320 admin fee. We do have early bird scholarships. So what are the early bird scholarships? Basically, at the end of each year, I decide how much we want to put into scholarships to help students to be able to come and study financially, of course. And then we have a pot with all this money in, and then it's on a first come, first served basis. If you want to study in the Lyon campus, then there is no early bird scholarship for the first year, but however, the second year, you have a €3,000 scholarship for the second year. For the EMBA, it's a €1,000 scholarship, and that's for the first year, which is the only year because it's a 1 year course, the EMBA. If you'd like to go to the Paris campus, then you have, for the first year, you have €1,500 as a scholarship, and the second year, €3,000. So once again, you can come back to this video, have a look at those, have a look at the slides before where you've got the costing, etc. But there you go for the early birds. So the easiest way for you to be able to apply to come to the school, first thing I would advise is to actually go to the website and have a look more about France, learn more about France, learn more about the courses we offer, learn more about the campuses and about France in general. And then obviously you have our partner that you can contact, and then you have our staff also. But it's a very simple process. You just need to give us some details. Once we have the details from you that you can put on in online, then you would have a first interview with us, which is where we'll be looking at your level of English. If you've understood me today and you can converse with me, that's fine. That's all you need. We will talk about if you need, I'm sure there'll be questions on that. If you need to have a certain level of English or a certificate, we'll talk about that in a moment. So you have a first interview, a second interview, and that's it. And then within a week, literally within 1 week, you should know whether you've been accepted or not to come to our International School of Management. Okay, so moving on to accreditations. What's very important, a lot of these logos and names may not mean anything to you. Believe me, they're important. Basically, they are accreditations that have been awarded to our school to say that we are giving a very high level of education. And these institutions that you can see on the screen are there for different subjects. The first one on the right-hand side is AMBA, or Business Graduates Association. They're very global, very well known. You may or may not have heard of them. And then the second one is ICRI. ICRI is actually specifically for the hospitality side of things. Then we have EFMD Global, which do everything, but for ourselves, it's more the business side. RNCP is probably the most important one, although nobody's probably heard of it, but it's actually the French government that are saying that the courses that you're following are up to this very high level that we require in France. The last one I'm very proud of on the left-hand side is the Chambers of Commerce and Industry. I'm very proud because there are many schools in France, of course, but we're one of only 9 schools that are actually a partner of the Chambers of Commerce and Industry that you have here. So just moving on. What I'm going to do now, you've got our details on the screen. I'm going to bring back in my team. So I'm going to start with Maha. Hello again, Maha.
Hi.
And Lakshmi. There we go. Almost a full team. Sri Lakshmi. Is she? There she is. Okay, fine. So I've tried to keep that down to about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, which I seem to have done for once. Let's just have a look at the questions that we have. And there are quite a few. So let's see. Okay, we have one from Mukhtar Pathan. Mukhtar, if perhaps you could take the details off our screen and get in touch with us, as you seem to be a consultant. Okay, I've got a question here. I'm not sure who wants to answer this one. Is this working individuals, higher education? Not sure, Dinesh, that I've understood. Has somebody understood the question?
I think what he's asking is if working individuals can apply. Yes, if they want to continue their executive MBA, they can apply for a one-year executive MBA with us.
Okay, all right, fine. Thank you, Maha. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, I've got somebody. I'm going to put this question on screen. They're not actually from India. These are from Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting question because they've said, hello, I'm from Sri Lanka. I received an LOA from or I saw some students got rejected in the first visa interview, but they were accepted after the second time. May I know some facts about avoiding getting rejected? I think I can actually answer some of this. And if any of you would like to add something in afterwards, please do. There are many reasons that maybe somebody was rejected the first time. It can be financially, perhaps you didn't give the correct paperwork. Individual were not good. It could be paperwork. It could be yourself. Maybe you were stressed. Maybe the person wasn't prepared enough. Because it is a bit daunting to go to a consulate to have an interview. So this can happen too. But they were accepted the second time. Yes, this does happen. I actually have one in mind. I think it was an Indian student. Maybe Maha would know this, but we actually have one student that was rejected twice. And he so wanted to come to France and study. He tried and got it the third time. So it's not unusual. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, obviously, but it's not unusual that somebody has been rejected once and then very shortly after they've applied again and they've got it. And they think, well, what did I do the second time that I didn't do the first time? It could be just that you weren't prepared enough. It could be that your documents were incorrect, which is why it's important that people like our partner that's here today, Sri Lakshmi, can actually, with our staff, actually check that all the documents are correct, and then we will prepare you. We actually even give you mock interviews so that you'll know the kind of questions. I mentioned the 5 points earlier, and that's what we're going to be talking to you about. It's important for you that you need to know what you're doing, where you're going, and who you'll be with, what you're going to be taught. All of these are very important points. It's a big part of your life. So it's really important that you get yourself prepared for this. So thank you for that question. When do classes start for the October and March intakes? Yeah, sorry, as I said, on the screen, they were incorrect dates. It's actually September. It's the 2nd of September that it starts, and the cutoff date for applying is the 15th of June. Had another question, is the internship paid or unpaid or unpaid? No, it is paid. As I said, it's a minimum of 624 euros per month. It's just a little bit under that, 623.74, I think it is, to be precise. But very often you have more than this. But yes, it is paid. Are there any application fees? Yes, there are. 320 euros is an administration fee. That's given to ourselves, and that's for every student and each year too, just to be very clear on that. Another one, is the internship paid or unpaid? We've answered that one just a second ago. Okay, here's a good one. We have, is there an age limit for applying for the master's program? Who would like to answer that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, we can hear you now. That's fine.
For a regular MBA, up to 25, 26 years of age. For an executive MBA, which is a one-year program, up to 35, 36 years of age. Okay.
Okay, fine. Actually, I have another question which is related, which is, what is the minimum percentage for applying for a master's?
Yes, you can apply with a minimum of at least 55% in your previous education. So you're applying for a master's, then in your bachelor's, you should have at least got a minimum of 55%.
Okay, fine. Just a couple of other ones. When is the application deadline? 15th of June. 15th of June is the deadline for applying, and then gives us time for you to be able to, for us to prepare you, and then of course for you to apply for your visa. This is a good one. I started to talk about this one earlier. Is IELTS needed to apply, or any other certification? The answer is no. You do not need to have any specific certificate in English to come and study in France. I know that is the case for many other English-speaking countries. In France, no. It's literally just an interview with ourselves, first of all, where we'll just ask you simple things like, what would you like to study? What do you know about France, etc. And then, of course, when you go for your consulate interview, that would equally be in English, and you do not have to have any certification at all for your level of English. So there you go. Next, let's have a look. Okay, this is going to be a difficult one to answer, really. I've just attended the virtual interview. What are the chances of approval? Look, it's difficult to put into words. You have great chances as long as you understood the person that you were talking to, and they understood you, and you've been able to converse. You have a fantastic chance of being able to pass the first interview. Then you'll have a second interview, which is with somebody that's actually based in France. But again, it's 100% in English. So there's really nothing to worry about. We just want to make sure that you understand. I mean, look, the average cost of studying in France is 12,000 euros per annum, per year. I mean, we are well below that amount, but still, it's thousands of euros. It's your hard-earned money, or your family's hard-earned money. So you need to make sure that studying abroad in the English language is good for you and that you can understand, because obviously we need to make sure that you're going to be a good student and you can understand, because we want you to get your degree. And once you have your degree, that's great for everybody. So you've got fantastic chances. And I'm sure if you've just had your interview that you will have the outcome very, very quickly from us. And then you'll have a second round interview, and then we'll tell you straight away. Usually within a week, you know whether you've been accepted or not to come to the school. Okay, the programs that are certified, we have just at one point, this is quite interesting actually. Again, some of you may not know what this means, but the RNCP is basically the government that are saying your courses are actually certified. So we currently have the hospitality that have RNCP, and we're actually going through the process for the business. Now, you must equally know that RNCP, when it is granted to a school, and because we're a new school, we couldn't apply to start with, we had to wait until we'd had so many students that had actually graduated. So once you have applied and once you've obtained your RNCP for however many courses or whichever courses you do, it is backdated. So anybody that started a course then would have the RNCP, even if, for argument's sake, in business we didn't have it. Then when we obtained it, for example, in 2026, anybody that had started up to 2 years previously would still have RNCP. So technically, they all are, but that's the way it works if you want to go into the nitty-gritty. Let's have another look. We've got a couple of more questions, and I think we've almost wrapped up. I'm not sure if I've understood this one. Is there any role of Campus France for admission in AURA? Okay, let me just point out the role of Campus France and AURA. AURA International and Campus France are not linked at all. Campus France is the French government. AURA International School of Management is an independent private school in France. Campus France are actually there working with the consulate to prepare people that are looking to obtain a visa. Prepare may not be the right word, but they will explain to you the process, and you need to give your documents to them, and they will be having an interview with you just to see if you are a suitable candidate to go and study in France. They don't actually make the decision of whether you'll get the visa or not. That's actually the consulate themselves. But Campus France are very helpful. They're there to help the consulate to understand the kind of person you are, and all the documents you have. So they're preparing your file, if you like, for the consulate, but they play a very important role, and they can guide you sometimes too. If you have questions, you need to be very open with them and talk to them. But once again, we prepare your file, we prepare you in the best possible way so that you feel at ease, because sometimes when people go to Campus France, they're a little bit stressed. Campus France want to give you visas. They just want to make sure that you know fully what you're letting yourself into when you go to a foreign country, and they want to give you any help that they can. So two separate entities. We're not one, okay? Campus France is the government, in a roundabout way, and or International School of Management is the private school. What are the stay back options? One of you answer this one. I know them, but I've been talking a lot.
Okay, so for bachelors, there's no stay back. Okay, but in case you are able to land a job, you can definitely stay back on a work permit. For a master's, that is the 2-year master's and the 1-year master program that we have, yes, you are eligible for a 1+1 stay back and a 5-year alumni visa. So basically, you get the first year to search for a job, and if you still don't land a job in that year, and you can ask for another grace year to stay back and search for a job. Yes, you get 1+1, 2 years stay back. Yeah.
Okay, so I have one. This is probably going to be the last one. I have only 45% in English in 12th. For Campus France, is IELTS mandatory?
Yes, 45 is a little too less because we keep 55 at least minimum, right? Overall, like even your aggregate, your English, everything. So if it's 45, it's advisable that you do an IELTS aiming for a score of overall band of 6 and individual bands nothing less than 5.5. Definitely, if your 12th standard English marks is 45%, you will have to do an IELTS. Such cases you will have to do.
It's quite individual cases and very almost rare, I would say. So yes, in your particular case, perhaps. Are there any PhD courses available? No, bachelor's, BBA and MBA, and the EMBA. Sri Lakshmi, could you just tell us a little bit more about your company before we leave today? Because I think it's really important. We have you here. I haven't given you much time for you to be able to talk today, but I think it would be great if you could just explain a little bit to us who you are, your company, what you do, and how you help students.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Mahalakshmi ma'am and Lakshmi ma'am. Thank you, Aura, for giving us this opportunity. So our students got to know more about Aura through this. And so to talk more about Campus World, we are established since 2008, and since then we are helping our students reach their dream of studying abroad in great nations and in great institutions. We are based in Cochin, and we help students from starting the courses, like picking the courses, to after the visa also. So we help them throughout the process. And for the students, thank you very much for joining this webinar. And if you have any details, you can contact us through our website and our social media links also.
Thank you very much, Lakshmi. Lakshmi, can we just have a quick word with you? You're the only one that hasn't spoken too much today.
Yeah.
Just so you said you're actually based in Kerala?
Yes. So yeah, I've been appointed as the Kerala admissions manager, and I'm currently based in Calicut, but I've been traveling around meeting agents. So Campus World has been really great. We've had a good relationship with Campus World. Yeah, so looking forward to working with you more effectively.
Okay, great. Okay, so look, people, thank you very much for having been with us today. We've spent a lot of time answering questions, but if you have any others, please just reach out and we'll answer those for you. I wish you all a very good day today and a good weekend. And I hope to see some of you in France very soon. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.